Okay, well, welcome back to another re-education experience podcast. The show that I've coined when I started this, the Modern Realtors Playbook. Lately, I've been really blessed to have just a steady stream of guests on the show that are just doing that, unpacking their tips, their tricks, their mindset, their tactics on how to be modern today, professional as a realtor today in this kind of ever evolving world of real estate, right? There's so much being thrown at us. Today, again, my guest, there's no exception. I've got another great guest with me. He goes by the name of Tyler Auerbacher. And again, we chatted offline. I was going to butcher that because, again, we always go first name, right? It's like, hey, bro, here, how's it going, Tyler? And how often do we actually pronounce each other's last names? So
I know it. I know it. If you ask me yours, I would probably do the same thing. So
totally,
I
exactly. It
understand.
happens everywhere, right?
Yeah,
So,
dude. And I
um,
mean, but yeah, it's all good. I'm excited to be here, man. I appreciate the invitation and excited to pour some value.
Awesome. So Tyler is the founder and the CEO of something called Thrive Marketing that he just launched, which we're going to unpack a little bit, but it's the high level. If you go to his website, which we'll talk about how to do that later too, it's a fractional CMO, like Chief Marketing Officer, and also a full digital service marketing agency for realtors and then other service-based businesses. Because us as realtors, there's just like an onslaught of other businesses that kind of do what we do, but just do different things.
Sure.
Personally, I think this is a super cool concept. And the moment I read that bio and I knew he was launching his company, it just hit, it just clicked. And I think last time him and I talked, I gave him some validation on the concept. Not that he even needed it because the leads are coming in crazy for him. And I know he's trying to keep up. But when I was growing Redline, just me and Brett as my co-founder, to a team brokerage of 15, you need marketing requirements. And then I switched it to an ultra service brokerage and we grew to about 100 agents. And then we've transitioned to real. And now I'm working with hundreds of agents. And I know 100% as the business owner that I'm the bottleneck and have been the bottleneck in our growth all the time for decades now. And that's unfortunate because of the complexity, right? As you and I know, Tyler,
Right.
needed to truly market your business. So there's so many layers, and I took the reins on things way too long, too often, because I didn't want to either spend the money or oftentimes I couldn't figure out what I actually needed, right? Because who I could trust and who could not sell me something that I didn't need that would really impact my business, because the world of marketing, like I said, is so big, right? So Tyler's been on the marketing side of real estate for a long time with various other highly successful businesses, some of his own and some with others. Like he worked at Curator with one of my friends, Jimmy Mackin, who soon will be a guest as well. Tyler also will be a keynote speaker as well at an upcoming Thrive Not Survive event for those of you in the greater Calgary area on June 7th. But I think this podcast episode will be released maybe just after. So Tyler found his passion in marketing, but he also comes from the school of real estate too. He was an agent, just like most of us listening, down in Florida, still lives there, and he was there for Keller Williams, which I really like because he comes from a place of understanding intimately what we go through as agents, which is not the case for all marketers or agencies out there. So Tyler, welcome to the show, my friend. As always, well, what did I miss related
Dude,
to your business history, or maybe even
that was amazing, man. What an introduction. That was great. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be on. I'm excited to just chop it up as far as just like my philosophy and when it comes to marketing, but also what I've experienced in the agency space for realtors and how things have evolved. Things are continuing to evolve. They always will. That's the beauty and sometimes the curse of marketing for some. You have to be on the forefront and really stand out to be unique. And what I've learned in the agency space is most clients come to us not even understanding what they want or why they want it, or the basic concept or understanding of the foundation, right? They don't even, you only know what you know. or you don't know what you don't know, right? That's the proper saying. And most business owners are good at running a business, or they're good at sales. Most I say are not also great at marketing. And that's kind of where, as an agency owner, a two-time agency owner now, I really have understood business owners need more of a leader of their ship to navigate the marketing sea, more so than the crew members to man the ship. Because those things, as far as execution wise and how to get the job done, are continuing to evolve with the evolution of AI, just, systems and tools that are out there. Like, however the job gets done as a business owner, you don't necessarily care as long as you understand the core navigation, where you're going in your boat, that you're going the right way and efficiently and effectively. That's the sauce when it comes to building your brand, and having a long-term strategy mindset, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's a zillion ways we can go in unpacking, the marketing is such a big topic. Um, the first thing that comes to mind as you say that is like we might be jumping a whole bunch of rungs ahead, right? Because so many realtors who are solopreneurs are making 100,000, 50,000, even a couple 100,000. And the term marketing is like not even in their vocabulary,
Mm.
because as you know, this is a relationship business heavily to start, and it does fuel us for a little while. And for some, it fuels us for our entire career. And the idea of marketing and like the term agency may
Mhm.
never even enter a realtor's mindset to say, do I need that? And so as I say that, if we're talking to like that typical agent that's never hired somebody to market and has just gone heavily around supporting clients, I mean, how do we speak this language to that agent who may be listening and say, yeah, I've never needed any of this stuff.
Sure. I mean, I would say, arguably, on the contrary side of that is, why wouldn't you be marketing to the people that you are doing business already with? If you're servicing a great experience with them, there's marketing power and content right there at your fingertips, at your disposal, to then basically, just spread like wildfire to their spheres and their circles. And it shows you in a light that you're coming from authenticity, value, your proven results. You don't have to be, creating content, running ads saying that, you have this many years of experience, you're a lifelong resident of your area. What people care about is, how the impact you're making and how you're making it better and easier for them for their life. It's a huge decision in people's lives, and
That's
you
a
have a great role in that. So yeah, man, I would say, like, people who haven't worked with a marketing company yet, or some people who have had like a sour taste. It's probably because you didn't have the direction or strategy to know what you're even asking for, because you don't necessarily know inbound marketing principles and the flywheel model approach, and how you have the omni-channel presence across multiple platforms, not just great sexy Instagram reels and TikToks. You have to there's so many layers to it. It's kind of like earth, right? Like,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so many layers to get to the core. The core, in my mind, would almost be like your brand is selling itself, like,
Mhm.
because of all of your exposure from multiple levels, for all the way from public social to email marketing, your sphere, like we started talking about. All those kind of interject together. And I think it's critical for people to understand that most kind of just want one thing, two things, and kind of want what I almost call steroids to kind of grow their business. But you need to be in the gym consistently doing multiple body, movements, to have a full healthy body.
I mean, so if I read between the lines a little bit of what you're saying and what you're unpacking is, sure, build that business the way you're building it, but like with a true brand and marketing strategy behind it, you're going to make your life easier. There's going
Right.
to be like the longevity and the ongoing business that comes from, like you said, the flywheel, the omnipresence, the things that we could unpack. Will,
Right.
if we want to do anything, we want people to realize that if you got something running, if you added a strategy around this,
Mhm.
it will and create this like not have to start from zero effect all the time, right? Like realtors, most of the realtors in the industry, like if you look at NAR results and even the Canadian data, is just very few agents can get away from that feast famine, feast famine, feast famine, right? They're always feeling up and down. But what if you could? You know what I
Right.
mean? Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. You're creating a marketing engine that's what a flywheel is, right? It continuously spins and grows faster and spins faster the more marketing, the more sales, and the best service that you do. That's your business growing. So think of your business as a flywheel. You're exactly right. And to go back to your point before, people don't understand, and this is again going back to why it's important to have like a strategist or a leader in your business. You don't sometimes understand the marketing abilities or opportunities that you are having day to day or month to month, that someone can kind of come in and say, dude, like, you have 4 closings this month. Those are 4 testimonials. Those are 4 videos, micro chopped. We can do like carousel posts, Google reviews, send those out to your email database, show the home on posts, like a slideshow, like just kind of getting out there more, exposing what they're doing day to
Yeah.
day. So the opportunities, I think, is a huge, huge point. People, just really need to understand. And then it's a matter of like, what are you passionate about? What do you enjoy doing? If you enjoy doing video, then maybe it's leaning in more on YouTube. But most people kind of stop, like I was saying, at 1 or 2 things, and then they are kind of, just seeing how that plays out. And then if they have a negative, experience, they stop.
Yeah.
um, or it's just understanding that it takes a few different layers to it, whether that's you doing some of that or outsourcing some of that, some of that in conjunction. I'm just basically sharing from experience, like
Yeah.
the best brands that I've ever worked with are the ones who have that omni-channel approach. They're seeing you everywhere with value, not just sales. And they're creating, like you said, that flywheel. Business is coming to them. They're attracting, not chasing.
And that solo agent, that average agent, that 1 deal a month, 2 deal a month, 3 deal a month agent, just know that we can be a sizable brand. We can be recognized. We can be unforgettable. We could be everywhere with our little businesses that a lot of us, as we're listing, well, I'm not big enough for that. But you're like you said, there's so many little opportunities but as a realtor, we're like, focus on market, focus on service, focus
Right.
on, getting the deal done, right? Negotiations. So this idea of like CMOing and having somebody there to manage and drive you to say, how do I best use what's available? I mean, that should be, I'm even thinking about it right now as I'm saying this. I'm like, that's a breath of fresh air that I still don't fully have in my business, right? But I could I could feel the power
Right.
of that. I could
Absolutely,
feel the
man.
power that would be so good for my business, if I dove into, versions of what you're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, what I do is definitely not for everyone. It's definitely for like, teams and like brokerages, large, solo agents perhaps, but
Yeah.
at least having a marketing strategist that you can consult with at bare minimum is what I'd recommend. That you at least have someone that can co-pilot with you. Maybe not fully navigate it if you're not at that level yet.
Mhm.
But it's so critical, in my opinion, like to have that, man. That's at the base of the foundation,
If
and
somebody, that's a great jumping off point. I was gonna think if somebody isn't in the levels where I know we'll talk about who you service and we can go into that a little bit deeper later, but what are some of those baseline marketing strategies that should just be in place? That, what I mean? An agent, I always say, if I'm an agent, I can put my head on the pillow at night and I can actually fall asleep without all of this stuff circulating and be like, what didn't I do? What have I done? You can we need our business to get to the point where we can do that. Because as you know, there is no end to our career. We could build it as big or as little, as wide as deep as and complex as we want. So it's hard to get out of that mindset. Where does an agent start if they're going to say, I'm going to put my marketer hat on and I just need some of the fundamentals today? If you could give them like 1, 2, 3 tips.
Yeah, I would say first, great point is like knowing yourself, like what your goals are, how big you want to make it, kind of like, is super important, man. That's like the first step is, not to copy someone that you are trying to aspire to be, but really think critically and deep about your goals, your 5-year plan, 10-year plan, like where you are at in life. But no matter what, if you are an agent or a team, like having a website that has an IDX and lead capturing tools is critical. Having some sort of social media presence on Instagram and Facebook is critical. I would also argue getting on TikTok, getting on LinkedIn would be great as well. But then really, I would say email marketing, your database, really showing a humanizing element to your content. Even what you're posting on social, you can repurpose in your email to make sure people are going to your social media and they're interconnected. Your omni-channel is starting.
Right. So you're finding people are
a fourth bonus would probably be Google My Business too, or Google Business Profile now. So really dialing in your Google, so when people are searching you, you absolutely want to show up, right? So like you want to think of social as more of like, pushing people, Google's you're pulling people, right? Or no, I said that's totally wrong. My bad. So Google, you're pushing, right? So no matter what, really the purpose of Google is to make sure that you are searchable. So having your business profile set up, getting some reviews on there is super important. Then social, email, but the website absolutely is the first step. Like no matter when I meet with a client, I go right to their website to make sure like who they're working with. I know a few like at the top, platforms, and I can kind of identify what, as a marketer, that I have the right tools in my toolbox to execute for them, or my team does, right? So that's kind of the first and foremost step.
So there's all these agents out there that are starting their careers on social media, and they're using popularity and tips to just grow their audiences and get in front of more people. And tons of them don't have websites that even have put any energy into it all. And it's working. Is it because in the social world you can build trust? And if you are the one that loves that stuff, and you can go out and be like, hey, Tyler's my guy. I really liked his journey. I followed his big surgery. I mean, I'm going to trust him. That when it comes time to buying and selling, there's this consumer world that is almost irrelevant to the idea of website and search. Is that fair?
I think there's ways to like circumcede like steps and levels of like qualification, right? So like if you meet someone at the grocery store, y'all hit it off, and you're now their realtor. They never even checked you out online, right? But now y'all are working together. But the idea is to, if people are vetting you, because it's a very competitive industry, like let's be honest, right? Like you guys are in like one of the most competitive niches there are. So you're most likely going to get vetted. Like most people know a handful of realtors that they can kind of, at least go to and, talk about, real estate with. So it's important when you're going up to bat that you have that presence, that people are confident. It's like your storefront, but digitally, right? So you don't want people to walk in the mall and look at your store and be like, no, I'm good, right? You want to pull them in. And I think the whole concept and really the website is critical, but I think when most people kind of get hesitant to do that is because they're not confident in their brand yet. So like maybe you need to take a step back, even like before you even get a website. Obviously, you need to really think critically and deeply about your brand and how that sets you apart. Like all the way from your color scheme, how it resonates with people, why you chose that, your city, your passions, your interests, your background. Maybe you're a vet, maybe you're past in a pacifier, and you know what I'm saying, like whatever you can kind of pour into your brand and make it relatable to others and stand out. That's first and foremost. So maybe I should have started there.
Gotcha,
Then
gotcha.
then it's a matter of how do you disseminate that properly across the internet, website, social, Google, email. Those are the core foundations. Then I would just say start there, and then you can kind of layer in other elements and other platforms and mediums within those said elements. But
I love that you mentioned Google My Business, because I was on a call yesterday with somebody who is doing an audit around our Redline kind of presence out there, because we have a unique element where there's this core group of us that's like corporate, and then we have this army of realtors that run the flag of Redline, and that there is power in that strength in numbers. So I asked her can you explore how we're doing, and then how do I use this army of 75 agents from a perspective? And she went right to the idea of Google and optimizing that. And then she started doing little audits on all these agents, and it was horrible, right? Everybody was failing every which way.
well,
She
it's
again,
tough. That's the point, right? It's tough to do it all. Like, and there's so many layers to the marketing, like right, earth cores,
yeah,
it's layers. So it's really important to have a system dialed in, and then try to automate it as best as possible, because you want reviews, you want current reviews, you want that to be automated and ongoing, and you want to ask those people who left you a great review to, okay, you know what, thank you so much, do you mind getting on video? I'll come to wherever you are, I'll bring a camera, my phone, whatever I have. Just if I can get you on video, that would really help my business. That would mean a lot. You don't think people would do that? So like, it's important to kind of like just like squeeze it, like, right? Get as much out of it that you can, that you are currently have opportunities to get, so it's just like, then you try to think about, how do I get new people? Google PPC ads, Facebook ads, running, different campaigns, on different platforms, and investing in maybe higher quality equipment, right? Like there's different ways to up your content game and like just your marketing game, but there's steps to it, right? That's where a lot of people get hung up, or they don't start because it just looks like a uphill battle that just looks, treacherous.
absolutely. I mean, even as much as I know, which is nowhere near what you know. And I've been lucky enough to be blessed around people that have gone super deep on a lot of niches, right? Where they've crushed it and their expertise is so high. It is overwhelming as a realtor to say, whoa, right? Like, wouldn't it just be easier to just, not do any of this stuff? Can
Right.
you?
Yeah, that's where I come in for sure. It's
Yeah,
like, listen, like there are some realtors that are great marketers. Don't get me wrong. Like those are the ones that are speaking at conferences typically, and like, you
right.
know, in the real network that you guys got a lot of them.
Yeah,
But most realtors are not. Most realtors need that assistance. They need that guidance. And what I also found in the agency world is, it's most like service just done for you, which is important, of course, but there's no accountability. There's no follow up like regularly. There's no feeling that I'm actually a part of Redline. Like your team knows me. Like they have my number. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I fly up there and like maybe once a quarter or once a year, like whatever is best for the client. Like that's kind of the approach. Was I was like, man, you know what? Things need to be shooken up a little bit, because the agency experience is just kind of broken, and there's so many people have had sour taste with it. And it's not because of execution. Like, results are results. Like, as I said, as long as the ship is working, as long as your food is being served, like maybe in 20 years there's going to be robots, unfortunately. I don't like that. But as long as your food is getting served to you and you're eating, aka as long as your boat's floating and you're going in the right direction, you don't necessarily care who's managing shit, if that makes sense. but what's
Totally.
important is the direction and how you're getting there. So yeah, man, that's where I was like, Thrive. I want to be different. I want to be unique. I want to package that together where they're hiring a marketing leader and a done for you team to implement what we agree upon and what we decide and strategize together. And
I mean,
I really think that's the beautiful synergistic combo.
I think that ability. So we talked about that, one deal a month agent, still breaking six figures with that in most markets, getting up to that next plateau of 2 a month and 24, you're in the top 20% of agents in the world, right? Then you get going and you're trying to scale beyond that. And that a big part of my audience and the people that provide me feedback are those agents scaling upwards. But it's like, how do I scale with just what I did? And this is exactly like what Tyler's talking about. There's an opportunity here to say, okay, well, there's either brute strength and effort, right? Or there's like some smart solutions. And this is where maybe the marketing hat needs to be worn a little more. And you got to think as a master marketer or someone who's bringing that into your crew, right? Your little team of 3 or your team of 10, or again, whatever network you're building. I think is incredibly important, because then it doesn't feel like it becomes overwhelming to run these squads, right? Because it is, right? You take on responsibility as a team leader. It's overwhelming as a team leader on all fronts, but what if the marketing wasn't the thing that caused you the stress, right?
Oh, absolutely, man. Like I know I'm no different or any exclusion, because even with Thrive, like I'm hiring people to do things that I'm not the best at, or I don't really enjoy doing, right? Like in every business, there becomes a point where it makes sense to maybe take a step back, like monetarily for yourself, or maybe for the business for a month or two, to take 2 to 10 to 20 steps forward over a 6 to 12 month time or plus, like, so, that's what's hard. You have to have a long-term mindset with marketing, branding, and advertising. That's why the best brands are the ones that are long lasting, because they stay in the race. You
Yeah.
know, even during COVID, they stay in the race. During down times, they stay in the race. Like it's just a constant element of, in fact, they double down because people are exiting, doing marketing. So you got to think of it as opportunity cost, and you have to start somewhere. You have to start. So there's I say it all the time, like you have to attract, not chase. So you just have to have that mindset and apply that, and then get that ball rolling. So it's just it's necessary, man. You have to do it. It's like
I,
going
I,
to
I find when somebody changes their timeline horizon of the outcome, everything, and they commit to that, the whole thing can change. Like for instance, I have an investment strategy that I've just built, and it's a 15-year strategy. 15-year strategy for the first time in my career that I've built it, but I've never felt more at peace with what I need to do, knowing that there's that horizon ahead. Where
yeah, that's a
when I
great.
was looking at what's my daily requirement around a strategy that was short term, i.e., views on a reel or followers in my account, and you're thinking short term, that hamster wheel is frustrating as hell.
Right.
That's why you spin your wheels and you go from one strategy to the other and you give up and you move on.
Dude, it kills me, man, because people literally look at those vanity metrics and they look at the views, they look at the comments, the shares, like that's great, but most of them stop and, like I said, making the video and posting it. Why don't you add a remarketing pixel in the back end of Facebook and run an ad or a funnel of ads that are showcasing, your services and other content from people who are watching your reels, that are going to your IG profile, like taking them down a pathway and a step to qualification. Because yeah, they may like you, they may think you're funny or you're knowledgeable, but then are you actually selling homes? Do you, like, most people are like, yeah, this guy, like, okay, all right. They see you a couple times, few times, and like, all right, let me listen to Darren. All right, I like what he has to say. Maybe they follow you and they stay in your network for a little bit. But if you have a remarketing sequence and you're you're qualifying them, you can take them down a whole different pathway that you're showcasing value and your knowledge and your business. And that's how you actually take a follower or a view into an actual client is through a remarketing funnel. But most people don't do that or understand that or don't want to invest in that. I'd argue that shooting content on your phone and investing in remarketing ads are more important than getting a nice fancy DSLR camera.
Yeah.
Once you get to that level, of course, like there's, stack it on up. But my whole point is that, it's important again to have that next step approach. What's next? Okay, that's great, but what's next? What's next?
I mean, you and we talked about the Thrive event because the theme that I'm interjecting in all speakers is max out, right? And it's like, okay, if you've got a great sphere-based business, if you've got good repeats, but like, can you maximize that? And there's some smart marketing, like you mentioned, the term retargeting, which most people have, maybe not most, I'd say, let me say, half the people have heard about it and like 5% execute on it.
Right.
But like, there's an opportunity to say, get my stuff in front of the people that know me more often. And if anything, all it does is, and say, I never want to grow my database. I'm good with my 500 people. They trust me. They like me. They send me recurring business. Well, if you had a remarketing campaign with what you're already doing, you would be ringing out multiple referrals. You'd be ringing out those water cooler conversations. Be like, my guy, Tyler, is the shit. You cannot buy a house without him. Right?
He's funny. He's knowledgeable because you're right. You're making reels that you're maybe showing your personality. You're showing direct to camera reels. You're getting tips. Okay, that's fine. They may like you, but then what's next? Are you doing business? Are you showing me testimonials that I talked about? Right. So like, how does all that interject together? That's how, as a consumer, we all communicate differently. We all adapt. We all kind of gravitate towards our own methods that we prefer, right? So like some people prefer email, to get their business related stuff. Like some people don't even look at ads. Some people look at ads like crazy. Like they enjoy ads. Like they shop on their phone, right? So like it's hard for people to understand if you don't do it, because I don't shop like that, because I kind of know like I don't want to get remarketed. But it's important, as a business owner, as a realtor, to know that, like, dude, you have to do that. That is so important, especially if you are creating content online. That's almost like a yin to the yang, in my opinion. But like you said, most people know about it and heard it, but they haven't done it, or maybe they tried it and it was hard. They jumped off. So it's pretty funny, man. People are like all scared about AI and they don't even know what retargeting is still.
Right.
So it's like, give it some time. We'll see how it all shakes out. But
no, that's funny. I mean, I you're so right. We're worrying, and I see the stuff that realtors complain about on forums where they're allowed to talk somewhat uncensoredly. And I think, holy cow, it's the same people complaining about things where they're like, well, Darren, I need help with this. I'm like, but why are you spending time on that thing that I see you posting when all you need to be doing is focusing what's in front of you, right?
Right. That's exactly, man. Dude, you actually just spoke to me, because I'm a marketer, right? Like I haven't had the bandwidth myself to like create content the last few weeks, because when I launched Thrive, I thankfully am blessed to have like people reach out. I'm having clients now, and like I'm hiring 2 people, and I'm in a really good spot, thankfully now. But I haven't had the bandwidth myself to even create content. But imagine if I was still creating content, launched my new podcast, doing webinars, like doing like all my CMO tasks for me. I would neglect the people that I'm bringing on right now and servicing, and like building my core systems and processes and tools. And so like you have to place an importance on your business and your internal. That's why I said the email is arguably probably the best starting point your website and email, your Google business, social, like all those things kind of interject together. But your website and email is like kind of the bare bones, I would say, the concrete foundation of the marketing house.
You know what? I like the fact that you mentioned email, and you said something earlier about driving them back to your social, right? So a lot of us are putting more time than ever on social, short form reels, bite-sized tips, things
Yep.
that we are getting out there. But then, I mean, the people that follow us see it. As you know, the algorithms we only see so many of the things that somebody posts.
Right.
But like, if you're using the email form, you're saying it's okay to drive them back to the social post to say, hey, I made this, and please go check out this link. And I think a lot of people probably aren't doing that. They're thinking, I shouldn't just, they probably saw that, but the reality is they probably didn't, right?
Right, exactly. Or at least so now that they know that you're on those platforms, like they can either search for you or go right to that, that link. But yeah,
Right.
like if you're creating reels, especially like YouTube, content, you absolutely should be blasting that to your email database as well and say, hey, I made a new YouTube, because you're just adding value. You're helping. You're not selling, you're helping. So when you come from that mindset, it's like, dude, I want to make sure that you saw this. Like, it's something that's mad. I'm sorry, like I'll take it off the list, but I put some time in this and I really thought it was valuable for you. Like you're only helping. So what I would say is, like, think of all the things that you are disseminating online in the week and make a weekly newsletter that literally has links that says, hey, in case you missed it, here's a link that I made about your topic, your like one of your IG reel topics, and the next topic and the next topic. And hey, I also made a YouTube on the city of Alberta or Calgary, and check it out here. The best places to eat. And hey, did you also know, like, you can basically make a whole chain of your email that's text based. Maybe you had a blog of like the market updates, like but all that's marketing, right? So you can beautifully design that in a way that it's not overwhelming for the consumer. It's actually like not just insightful and valuable, it's like bubbly, it's friendly, it's inviting. It's like people are almost yearning for the red line weekly email, right? The red line red box. You like that?
There you
go. But it's like basically having a weekly thing where you're leveraging what you're spending your time on already. Why not expose that to people that may not have seen that? Just because you posted it doesn't mean that they saw it. So, and they're not going to be mad that you linked that, even if they did see it. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I saw that.
They saw it and they saw 7 seconds of it, and then they moved on anyways, right? So like they my own agents barely remember what I post, right? It's just the way
people overthink it, like I'm guilty of it too. Like people don't care as much about you as you. So
right, yeah.
It's just a matter of like getting out of your own way, getting out of your own head. If you think it's valuable, post it. You know what I'm saying? Like batch schedule it, plan it. That's the other thing too. Like, with the marketing strategist, like having a blueprint. It's almost like a personal trainer, right? That helps you build your nutrition plan, your workout plan, your sleep regimen, like any systems and tools that could help in those areas, like bands or like Aura rings or fitness watches. Like all those things are like little micro, but the personal trainer knows about that because that's in their lane. They know the up and coming things, yada yada. That's a sort of way to think about this almost. It's like, you can go to the gym now on your own, but like that, once you're at a level that you want to get to even greater, or you're in a point in your business that you're struggling, or even like you're struggling, physically, you hire a personal trainer. Like that's kind of where I think where I can really fit in, and I feel a void. I feel that there's a void in the space when it comes to that. Like, as I said, there's agencies, there's technology tools that you can do it yourself, but there's not really, and there's like coaching platforms, you can learn it.
Sure.
And maybe you hire someone on your own team, but there isn't someone like in the industry that I knew that had something that you could hire like as we're talking about, and that's where I was like, bingo, that's it.
Right.
So
You know what comes to mind when I think about this, and I try to look at the industry from more of a long tail, right? And what we know is that over time, the agents that are doing better continue to level up, right? And they're on growth trajectory. Their goal is take market share from all of those others, right? They're doing that originally from strong sphere, right? Then they built up a lead source. Then they got better at it. They built a team. They grew larger, and they've started to adopt things like what you do, right? So as that happens, and if we believe technology is getting more intense, if we believe the social platforms are getting more complex, they're learning more about us as we're consuming it, you know, the people that are best funded are going to keep finding ways to tentacle out and steal market share from you, right? So if that is truly going to happen, unless you're ignorant to it and you want to hide under the box, under the rock, this is going to eventually, over time, make it harder for you. So
right.
why not find your place within it, right?
Exactly. It's no different than what it was, 20, 30 years ago when the internet started, right? So people are in real estate. I wasn't there to see it, but obviously you went from print newspapers, right? Radio, billboards, benches. People would call in, right? Like you'd have office call hours. Like they would call Keller Williams and Lakeland, and they would just whoever answers gets the deal, right? Then the internet started, and people can build personal brands and like differentiate themselves. And some people prefer to vet people first to see who they want to work with. That's kind of how it all started, and then social media came around, right? And so you're exactly right. Like you have to get into the game at some point, otherwise you're going to get swallowed up. It's just human nature. That's how it's always been. Like if you're still doing benches, if you're still doing radio these days, if you're still doing newspaper, I don't know how well it's going to work. So you have to adapt and grow. So think of it in that sort of scale, and limelight. I think it's important to know, like,
yeah, unless there's parts of that is in like omnipresence, and you've got the entire package running, right? You've got billboard, like for instance, in a farm, I used to put up my bus benches to make sure nobody else got eyeball share, because I had 60% market share and it was defense. It was like nobody's entering my little prison that I had, you know what I mean? And it was like, yeah.
But you already built that, right?
I built it, yeah.
Right.
So then you place those extra things to say guard against, because I had the money to do it, right?
That's exactly the mindset to have. You build your little what's the word I'm looking for? Castle. You build your little castle, right? And then the moat, right? But it's important to know, like, you have to safeguard yourself first in the core, and then stack more things to safeguard yourself. Then I'm sure there's like Google ads and creating content. It's just levels.
I got a funny example. What you talked about, shopping online, and I've found most of my most favorite online brands and things I've bought, and whether it's shirts or hats, all online now. And you'll come across something, and I'm really good at screenshotting the things that I like, and then I'll go back and I'll check the website out later, right? If I'm in the mix of something. But now I'm to the point that I know these marketers are so damn good that I'll just wait till they retarget me, because I know the ad's going to come later when I'm scrolling, at nighttime. And I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out then. That is insane. You're saying, like, I don't even need to put my contact into for Inmate, because I clicked it once and I know it's coming back to me because these guys have mastered it. And I'm like, I'm at peace with that. I'm like, I'll just wait till they come back because I'm busy, right?
Well, even like, if anyone, and most people that are listening and watching, like you've bought something online, and especially if you bought something online lately, you instantly get remarketed that said item or that said company with various items the next day or the next hour, depending on how long that you were searching, how many pages you searched. They have their own sequences and funnels that show like time on site, what page you went to, if you went to the checkout page, if you put things in your cart, If you didn't, they're gonna send a 10% coupon to you. So you're exactly right. Like, I'm the same way. Whenever I sign up for something, I never buy anything right away because I know that I'm going to get remarketed, or I should get remarketed a coupon. And I'll even put something in my cart,
Yeah.
remove it, or like close out so they see that it's still in the cart, and you'll get a coupon. Yeah, it's funny. I'm the same way. I never buy something the first time. Usually, it's like I see the ad, I see it. And that's what's called impressions, right? So it's important to have a frequency that you are showing people the same ad. If it's doing well, that's when it comes down to like looking at the analytics and making sure that it's doing well, which if people are going back to it, then it should be. But the more times people see something, the more trust that you're building, the more times they see something in addition of variance, you're still going to build trust that way too. But the more times you see it is what's called impressions, and that's what's important to like just reinforce something that you want to show someone based on their engagement.
Is it fair to say that once you've created some baseline strategy on social where you're running some consistency, you're speaking your voice, you're getting it out there, if your website's set up and it's it's up and running, it feel like you said it's clickable, people like it, you're confident in it, you've got an email list, it's running, you're driving content to which and everything, but you've never run paid, you've never gone ahead and run just cold paid ads, is the next best thing to flip into the retargeting world, from a budget perspective?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
If you should on your website have like a tracking pixel set up. So you're monitoring, like Facebook will basically parse and see what pages people are going on. Then you can remarket people to those certain pages. Same thing with social media as well. So all that intertwines together. The first and foremost, when you want to run an ad to those set groups, of course, you can choose like just people who live in Calgary or live in Alberta or live in Canada. If you want to blanket the whole country, like you can basically target people like just geographically, but your budget is not going to be utilized in an efficient way because people don't know you yet. You're not maybe showing people in your said market that even matters. So you're kind of wasting your budget. So when you do geographically, it's important you try to be very micro. Facebook's been stricter as far as targeting abilities, but there's still ways to make sure that you get as best as you can. And then, as you said, what's most important first and foremost though is the retargeting. So getting your CSV customer file lists from your CRM uploaded into Facebook, running remarketing ads to people that are already in your database, because it'll basically map out phone number and emails best to their ability. And then also you can basically remarket people that are showing interest on your Instagram profile, your Facebook page, watching a video for 3 seconds or 10 seconds or the whole thing. You can get pretty freaky in there. So it's just
and that
sounds
super techie, right? That sounds super techie, but that's where that would be the next level to just like either learn, hire, consult to just say like, let me max out the people that are already visiting me because I've done something right. They've they're opening my emails, they like me enough to follow me, right? So let's just the past client that loved on me and closed the deal,
right?
Just how do I maximize that group? Right. I mean, the cheapest,
like a great example would be Mike Sherrard, who you had on last, right? Like he has I think I saw a coaching course, right? I follow him, so there's no other way that I'm connected with him because I live in Florida. I'm not in any realtor network. It's just literally a matter of me following him or us following each other. And he must have an ad running to his followers on Instagram to show a course that he has for sale, right? So no different than when you see your ads, because if you go on your phone right now and if you swipe every third post is an ad, third or fourth, boom,
that's
boom,
crazy,
boom,
yeah.
ad. Every story, boom, 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 ad. So almost just like subconsciously we're seeing ads. But if I know Darren, like if I have sold a home and bought a home with you in the last 10 years, and I know you, you're my friend, you know, you go to birthday parties, and then, you know, I follow you, and all of a sudden I see your ad, like I'm more inclined to go to you. You know, I'm more inclined to check you out and see what you have going on. And even if that's like to refer business or to repost, or like that's when it comes down to like the science of the ad and like the copy, you know, the
Yeah.
image, the video, like all those things are really important. It's kind of like art. It really
And there's
is.
a bit of a story that you want. There's a roadmap you want to, you have to step back and say, what
Right.
story do I want to tell to the people that already know me? And then it's like, how do I digitally make this happen? Right.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. It's just like art. Like everyone can paint. You know, I can paint, but that thing won't sell. I can tell you that. No one would want that. I wouldn't even want to. You know, so you know, you know, everyone can run a Facebook ad, sure, but again, you know, it's just important to kind of, you know, lean into what you do best. Of course, you got to scale it and get to a point where you have the ability and bandwidth to do those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's how you get from, you know, point A to point B to point C to point D to, you know, as you said, real estate's unbelievable. You can go all the way to Z,
Mm-hmm.
or ZA, then ZB, then Z, you know, like.
Yeah. And I love this because I just came out of coaching this thing called the 6-figure blueprint, which really forces people to go organic and basic down to their spheres and their social and blend that to create the foundation. Part of that is CRM management, as you know, and website. If you do those things right and you build those lists proper, all the basics that every coach will tell you, and you get that up and running, you fall in love with those fundamentals, the ability for a guy like you, Tyler, then take these, you know, fully detailed lists and then go do something proper with it to then be the shortcut, to be the fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Everything gets easier. And I keep telling my agents this. What if you had everybody in all their addresses? Do you think you could do more to market to them? Hell yeah. If you had all their emails, what about the spouse emails, the cell phones, the
Right.
this? Now, if they're all following you, and oh my God, what if we put some of this marketing strategy behind it? This is when that omnipresence can be created and the
Exactly.
business gets easier, right?
Absolutely, man. Spot on. And you bring up a really good point that I kind of forgot about was CRM, marketing automations, right? So like when a lead comes in, like say you're running a top 10 homes lead campaign ad, right? Or like you have a new listing, you run a listing ad, or you have a blog post, or maybe an ebook checklist of why it's great to sell in the summertime, right? People download those items, those are leads. Those you can remarket to people again, like that's when the audience comes into play. You can target people geographically or in a list that you upload. But once they become a lead, or any of your leads that you currently have, you can kind of create flows or action plans in certain CRMs that have marketing messaging and templates set up that automate and trigger for you. And I think like that's another thing where you can get very nerdy in particular as far as like your copy for email 1, email 2, 3, your texting. Like, you know, you can really like that's the core too. It's like not stopping and getting a lead. It's the follow up. Like right. So obviously calling, texting yourself, but in the marketing space, the marketing world, how can you continue to market when they are already a lead? Because you don't want to stop there. You want them to become a client. You know, so you know that's when it boils down to the follow-up, and the CRM marketing automations is a really important part. It's almost an afterthought because it's so kind of like the last step, because you've done all the legwork to build your brand, to get them to your website, to build the trust on social, to create the asset, to become the lead. Then you call them, you text them, maybe you speak to them one time, then they ghost you. Then you know you think then you think it's over, right? But that's when the marketing CRM automations kick in and fire, and they're continuously seeing like an automated trigger to go. Like you can build out stuff that drives them back to your website every month, or you have a recurring something that you can send to them, that you're still top of mind email wise. So maybe they're in an action plan, but they're also getting your email newsletter monthly, right? Like different topics, different goals. And I know I'm getting super nerdy on you, man,
Well,
but
I mean, the reality is somebody's listening to this and they have some portions of this going on in their business, some things they've heard, right? But the reality is you got a choice as a realtor, right? We all have this choice. What's the business I want to run 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Is it going to be the exact same thing that got me here? That means I went out and I did everything traditional. I got things rolling. And then do you want to be, again, maybe building your list via door knocking 5 years from now, because that's you on the ground doing it? Or do you want to build a marketing engine that can then max out the energy you're putting in as Darren 2.0 right here on May 24th? And if you don't adjust and find some of these paths, the business it'll be just as hard to get started on every next transaction than if you play down a bit of this marketing and just understand that this is a path to growth that I think so many of us forget to say. There's a cost to this, but there's a cost to not doing it. There's a cost for your time to do this, to learn it, but there's also a cost for the time tomorrow that you're going to have to go spend, that open house, that door knock, right?
Yeah, there's a cost associated with you not doing a 15-year investing plan for your financial wealth, right? There's a cost to not going to the gym and eating right? There's a greater cost of doing those things. So you're absolutely right, man.
I mean, where does somebody, I mean, I got just a couple minutes here. We go to close this out.
Sure.
I mean, where does somebody find you if they believe their business is maybe to the point of support that could need a fractional CEO? What's the best CMO? What's the best way to find you? First of all?
Yeah, no doubt. The best place probably will be Instagram, quite frankly. I'm most active on there. You can obviously always go to the website, which is thrive-marketing.com, and Thrive is with a Y, not an I. But essentially, Facebook, Instagram, I'm active on social, of course. If not, I'll be a big hypocrite. So you can really hit me up, DM me, tag me, whatever you want to kind of get a hold of me. And then the website, if you want to actually book an actual discovery call and really dive deeper into the business, and you don't really want to talk first, and they can go right to the website. And you can book a discovery call right on my Calendly. That's my direct calendar link. So you'll be able to hop on a call with me and we'll talk. And really my plan with Thrive is to really build deep rooted partnerships with my clients. And it's not going to be a big ship that I have. It's going to be a very more intimate experience that I'm definitely deeper committed and a leader of my clients, businesses with them.
Yep.
I have a team behind me that basically will be executing a plethora of marketing services. Really, it's full service. So based on what we determine that your business needs, because no two businesses are the same and no two markets are the same. So what works for you guys may not work for me, and vice versa. So it's important to have that discovery call. But yeah, man, hit me up if you guys have questions. I'm happy to chat or just help. I'm always here. You can always ask me a quick question.
Tyler's always dropping great content. He's getting busy with his new business, of course, and that put things off, but that's the way it always goes, right? But nonetheless, and every one of these topics, if you're listening, there's bullet points and you can star yourself. Are you, green means go, you're doing this well. Yellow means, I kind of do this a bit. And then red means I haven't even started this, and you don't need all of this, but there needs to be some roadmap, and maybe that's worth the time. If you don't feel you're at Tyler's kind of full fractional CMO level, maybe there's a path for a discovery call where he can just give you a bit of the next steps roadmap to then get you somewhere else. Because I think a lot of us just get overwhelmed with that, and knowing that there's a path with a plan rather than a path, because we can all create a path, but we're like, is this going to end up with a result that even impacts me?
Right.
On guys like yourself would be a great place to start in your business. So
absolutely, man. Well, dude, I appreciate the opportunity to be on today. It's been a really good, fun conversation. I know I got a little nerdy, so hopefully people Can understand, but if not, again, just holler at me. I'm here.
This has been another Reeducation Experience podcast, and we said it's the modern realtors playbook, so we better be speaking that language. So again, everybody, thank you for listening, for watching. If you're watching, again, once again, if I can help personally in any other way, please message me direct. Tyler already offered that, and I look forward to continuing to serve you and continue on my path, which is my goal of building millionaire realtors. So again, till next time, everybody, thank you so much. And thank you, Tyler.
Of course, thank you.